bringing up somebody who is, this is Rich's second time here, and I was so impressed when he did his first story that he told something really personal and very honest and kind of intimate, which I think this crowd always wants to hear, but you know, the first time you get up, you kind of don't want to show who you are, and he did, and I was so impressed by that, and I thought, oh, this is great, I hope he comes back, and he is here, and I hope he continues to keep coming and we can keep hearing stories. He is very courageous and very wonderful. Mr. Rich McClellan.
A summer day. I sat up as I saw the pool come into the sight across the freeway. I was only a few minutes away from swimming, splashing, and relief from the hot, humid summer day. We were visiting our grandparents in Johnstown at the time. My Uncle Jim was taking me swimming at the Liberty Park pool in South Park, where he grew up. I really liked my Uncle Jim. He always gave me more attention than he did my sisters. He had traveled all around the country and knew all sorts of stuff about motorcycles and cameras and about anything else I talked about. He had taken me swimming almost every day this visit. Once he even got me a free ride on the small roller coaster at the other park. It wasn't really scary, except for my uncle's friend, who was obviously a fall-down drunk, was running it. He pulled onto the South Fork freeway exit just as I felt a bumping from the right rear tire. "God damn, the tire's going flat," my uncle muttered. I thought he was going to pull over immediately. Instead, he made a left onto the surface street, then another left back onto the freeway in the other direction. I was puzzled until he pulled over a couple hundred yards away from the pool. He says, "Why don't you walk to the pool and I'll catch up later?" Anxious to go swimming, I jumped out of the car, over the guardrail, then down the embankment, and started running towards the pool, cutting through the backyards of several houses. I was in the pool for quite a while before I saw my uncle. He was sitting on a picnic bench, talking to a bunch of teenage boys, while drinking a beer from the six-pack he had purchased along the way. He really wasn't supposed to drink. I remember when I was around 7, he went to the hospital for drinking. I smiled at myself, though, as I thought how impressed these kids must be with him. I continued swimming for some time until I heard the lifeguard's whistle, which was quickly followed by the rumble of distant thunder. Then I noticed the sky darkening. A storm was approaching. I found my uncle and we headed back to the car. Halfway to the car, the rain started quickly and became a downpour. As we cut through a yard, a boy jumped out of a playhouse at the back end of the yard and was waiting for us to come in from the rain. We were both happy to get out of the rain. Waiting for the rain to subside, my uncle started talking to the boy, who was possibly 15 or 16 years old. I don't know if he ever told us his name, though he would eventually know both of ours. By the time the rain subsided, my uncle seemed very focused on our rescuer. He looked at me and said that he forgot his towel for me to go back to look for it. I was confused because I was sure he brought his towel. He was persistent, though, so I thought I must have been mistaken. When I got to the pool, I found the kids he was talking with. While I was inquiring about the towel, one of the boys said, "Your uncle is a perverted queer." I do not remember what I said, if anything, in his defense. I just turned away and headed back to the playhouse in disbelief. I got to the playhouse and opened the door, only to find it empty. As I shut the door, the older boy came running out of the house, his dad following him, yelling, "That's the kid!" And I asked, "Where did my uncle go?" "It's okay, you are safe now," the father replied as he held me by the shoulders. Confused, I persisted. "What happened to my uncle?" Again, "It's okay, you are safe now. You don't have to pretend any longer. We know he's not your uncle. Where did he kidnap you from?"
Oh my God.
"He didn't kidnap me. He's my uncle. Why don't you believe me?" Then the boy stated he tried to mess with me. He asked me to show him my penis. Maybe he just wanted to see it, thinking there couldn't be anything wrong with that. "What is your name?" the man asked. Knowing how small South Fork was, I figured my dad probably knew him from their childhood. Once he knew who he was, he would surely figure out that this was a misunderstanding and he would let me go. "My name's Rich McClellan. My uncle's name is James Cawthorn." "That was James Cawthorn?" "Yes, can I go, please?" He asked for my address and phone number, after which he let me go. I got back to the car. I saw the tire was fixed. My uncle was in the driver's seat drinking the last beer. I told them they thought I had been kidnapped. The only way they would let me go was I told them who you were. You told them my name? He asked in a stern voice. Yes, was that wrong? No, that's okay, he muttered, and started the car, and we drove home. Neither of us said much. I was preoccupied with the day's events and trying to make sense of it all. What happened? I knew my uncle could not do anything wrong. If it does not make sense to me, it was probably because I was just not smart enough to figure it out. Later that evening at my grandparents' house, there was a phone call that my grandmother answered. Shortly afterwards, both of my grandparents were yelling out at my Uncle Jim about something he did. When I woke up the next day, my Uncle Jim was gone. It was not until I was an adult that I was able to connect the phone call, the yelling, and my uncle leaving with that day's events. Nothing was ever said to me about it. I was never asked what happened or if he did anything to me. Like so many other things in my family, we simply did not acknowledge it, and life went on, and I was able to keep my belief that my Uncle Jim was the coolest uncle anybody could have.
Rich McClellan.